Puberty in girls represents a transformative sequence of biological events that transitions a child into physical adulthood and reproductive maturity. This complex process involves a series of coordinated physical changes that result in adult characteristics and the biological capacity to reproduce, marking a significant milestone in human development. This entire process is regulated and driven by the pituitary gland, a small but powerful organ in the brain. The pituitary produces two critical messengers, known as luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone, which act as the primary chemical signals to initiate the various physical changes associated with maturation. Interestingly, levels of these hormones are quite high at birth, but they decrease significantly within just a few months. They remain at very low levels throughout the duration of childhood until they suddenly surge at the onset of puberty, triggering the next phase of the reproductive journey. The surge in pituitary hormones triggers the production of sex hormones, primarily estrogen. These increased estrogen levels result in profound physical changes, including the essential maturation of the internal and external reproductive organs, such as the breasts, ovaries, uterus, and the vagina, leading toward full sexual maturity. The timing and pace of puberty are influenced by several key factors, including nutrition and general health. In the United States, puberty now begins approximately 3 years earlier than it did a century ago. This shift is largely attributed to significant historical improvements in overall health standards and nutritional availability. Body weight also plays a significant role in determining when the process begins. Research indicates that moderate obesity can lead to an earlier start for many girls. Conversely, being severely underweight or suffering from chronic malnutrition can significantly delay the onset of these biological changes. Genetics are another primary factor in the developmental timeline. Girls often follow the specific biological patterns established by their mothers. If a mother experienced an early or late onset of puberty, her daughter is statistically more likely to follow a similar chronological path during her own maturation. The physical journey typically follows a very specific and predictable sequence. The first visible sign is usually breast development, often referred to as breast budding. For most girls in the United States, this initial change generally occurs at some point between the ages of 8 and 13. Following the appearance of breast buds, other secondary sexual characteristics begin to emerge. This typically includes the growth of pubic hair and underarm hair. These changes signal that the body is moving further into the sequence of maturation as hormone levels continue to rise and circulate. A significant growth spurt accompanies these physical changes, usually beginning around the same time as hair growth. Growth is fastest relatively early in the process and typically peaks around age 12. This rapid development then slows considerably, usually concluding entirely between the ages of 14 and 16. The final major milestone of this sequence is menarche, which is the occurrence of the first menstrual period. This milestone usually takes place approximately 2 to 3 years after the initial sign of breast budding, representing the culmination of the primary stages of reproductive development. In the United States, the average age for the onset of the first period is 12.5 years. However, it is important to understand that this average varies significantly across different races and ethnicities, reflecting the diverse biological and environmental backgrounds found within the general population. It is important to note that menstrual cycles are often quite irregular when they first begin. It is perfectly normal for it to take up to 5 years for a girl's cycle to become regular and predictable as the body's hormonal systems gradually stabilize and find their rhythm. Throughout this entire period of puberty, a girl's body shape also evolves significantly. The percentage of total body fat increases, and this fat specifically begins to accumulate in the hips and thighs. This change in fat distribution is a normal part of developing adult female physical characteristics. In summary, puberty is a unique and sequential journey of physical and hormonal maturation. By understanding the roles of the pituitary gland, nutrition, and genetics, we can better appreciate how the body successfully navigates the complex transition from childhood into full physical and reproductive maturity.